what a great opportunity to spend some time with David Murphy. David came out of Klein High School, came to Baylor, recruited by Mitch Thompson, who is here. Coach Thompson, it's great to have you with us today. Very successful coach now at MCC. And David came, had an All-American career at Baylor, was a first-round draft pick of the Boston Red Sox, made his major league debut in 2003, was with 4 different teams, and we loved it when he was with the Texas Rangers because we got to go up and see him a lot and watch all the Rangers games and listen to them. So it was really fun the time that he spent in his major league career with the Texas Rangers. David has since retired. He's got 4 young children at home between the ages of 2 and 9. So, you know, he's not retired, but he is helping run the household there with Andrea. So he's very busy at home, but he's a great dad, and he's a legend at Baylor in every sense of the word. So join me in welcoming our guest today, David Murphy. All right. All right, appreciate you being with us today. Welcome back.
Good to be here.
This is fun.
Yes, it is.
This is fun. Did you, so how did you have to adjust the schedule at home to get away for a few hours to come down here?
There's not really a whole lot of major things on the schedule. It's drop off, pick up, maybe a few things in between. But for the most part, during the day, if I try to get out to the golf course, I can. Fiddling with just getting things organized in the office, the administrative side of the household, and paying bills and taking care of things there, and just filling out the schedule. Coaching baseball, which hasn't quite started yet, so I've been kind of organizing that, preparing for that for my son's 6-year-old team, which requires a little bit of patience. And then I have 2 older girls that, like you mentioned, that they're both playing basketball right now. I'm the assistant coach of one of those teams, so just got practice tonight, and try to think things through. I have a little bit of time on my hands, so I think the games through a little bit more, try to plan practices out and help out how I can.
That's pretty cool. That's great. Don't you love having that opportunity, not playing Major League Baseball any longer, to have the opportunity to coach your kids and be around them?
Totally. I mean, that's when things didn't quite work out the way that I planned last year, and I didn't get to play. I mean, it's not like it was easy, but being able to come home and just seeing the way that baseball affected my kids and the way that they were up and down emotionally, and how solid and consistent they've been, and just how our families come together over the last 9 months has been a big time blessing.
How about for you? You retired last season. Is it any easier now? I mean, here we are, February. In your mind, are you still thinking, I need to get ready for camp, or are you past that? Is it any easier this year maybe than last year?
I think maybe being 9 months removed from retirement, I think I'm definitely getting the itch to do something, but I think I guess it's a long story, just in terms of my retirement, but I feel like the way that I retired was going out as a difficult and as challenging of a way that it possibly could have been. So I feel like that hard part was over, and maybe I struggled with days where I was depressed, or where it was a big time challenge for the first few months after, but I really feel like I'm over that. And I am used to going to spring training this time of year, but at the end of the day, I hate spring training. I mean, it's just, it's the same day over and over and over again, and you're excited to get out there. You're excited for kind of a change and something new, and that the season's about to start. You get out there and you're practicing for 3, 4, 5 days, and you're like, all right, let's get to games. And then games start maybe 5 or 6 days later, and after 3 or 4 games, you're like, okay, I'm ready for the season to start. So it's just, you are excited for a new beginning, but at the same time, spring training is spring training.
So you said it was difficult this time last year, or when you reached the decision to retire. Was it difficult because you still could have played? I mean, the Twins had you in their minor league roster, and you had an option. I mean, you were really close to being called up there. Was that the difficult part, is you were so close to still, or you could have continued playing if you wanted to?
I guess if you rewind all the way back to the 2015 season, I had a pretty decent season. I mean, I've never been a superstar by any means, and I know who I am as a player. I didn't try to be somebody that I wasn't, but I felt like I was still at the point in my career where I could be somewhat of a valuable asset to any team. And so coming off a strong 2015 season, I'm like, okay, judging by past, looking at this player, baseball's done by comparisons and contracts, that sort of thing. So I'm like, I know I'm getting older, but I'm going to get a job next year. I'm going to get a major league contract. So once contracts and free agents and everything started to kind of unfold for the off season, and I didn't really get many phone calls. I'm kind of wondering what's going on. And so, we reached this point last offseason. I still didn't have a major league offer on the table. So I ended up taking a minor league offer from Boston, not really knowing what might unfold there, but still in my mind thinking, okay, I'm going to go to spring training. And, I have enough of a track record. I have enough of a veteran status where even if I don't make the Red Sox out of spring training, somebody's going to need a roster spot, whether it be because of an injury or there's going to be a young guy out there who some team is expecting to take a job, and he's not going to show quite what they're expecting in spring training. So I don't make the Red Sox. I had a clause in my contract where I could take a release early just so that I could go out and have some time to look for another job. There was another job opportunity from another team where I would have been on a major league roster, but I feel like they were kind of backing me against the wall and just trying to take any leverage that I might have had away, and I just didn't agree with the way that they were dealing with me and doing business, so I didn't take that offer. There was another offer that was supposed to come just because of, kind of like I said, some uncertainty with their roster. There was a coach who had spoken with a player that I was friends with who said, hey, make sure to let him know, that we're keeping an eye on him, that sort of thing. Well, the coaching side and then the front office side can be two different things. So I heard from the coach through a player, but the front office never called like we expected them to. So, sure enough, it's opening day, and I'm sitting on my couch watching all these opening day games, and that was the most frustrating part of it. So I get the Twins started out, I think, 0-9. I get a phone call from their general manager, and they said basically that we need some veteran presence on our team. We got a team full of young guys. Everybody's pressing, that sort of thing. So you've been sitting at home for a few weeks. You need to get some reps. We're going to send you to AAA for 10 days, and then we're going to call you up after that 10-day period. So I signed the minor league contract. I go out to AAA, and I think being home and my kids seeing me home that time of year, and me kind of after a week getting a little bit more comfortable at home, and then leaving to go to a losing team, a place that's a decent distance from home. I think when I left, I'm like, okay, I'm excited to go, but there's something in my heart that's not right now. Like I feel like this should feel different than I feel right now. So just struggled with some up and down emotions, and there were days when I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then there's other days where I'm like, okay, I need to walk away. And I think at the end of the day, the GM came in town. He came to see me play a little bit, came to see some other guys play. And so he kind of reiterated the plan. He's like, obviously I'd signed a minor league contract. We're trying to kind of keep it quiet at the time because I needed to be added to the 40-man roster still. And so if I'm going on the 40-man roster, somebody's got to come off. And there's just so many house cleaning type of things that have to go on before a player gets added to a major league roster. So he's in town, and he's kind of reiterating the plan. And I was just like, all right, we need to have a conversation before we go any farther. I think I need to go home. So wasn't an easy decision, but at the end of the day, I feel like it was the right one.
And you were always, I remember when you were playing, during your playing days, you just cherished the time you could spend with your family, and it's so tough. I don't know half of it, but I can only imagine how many nights you're on the road away from your family when you were home, especially when you were with the Rangers in Arlington. You really made the most of that time, even during your playing days.
Well, not to mention that and when I was with Texas, my kids were younger. When your kids get older, it just gets harder because they develop friendships, they develop roots back home. I mean, it would have been one thing if the Rangers called last offseason and I have this offer right here. I can stay home. My kids can stay home. I can go play. Life is good. But, obviously I trust that the Lord's got everything that's going on is going on for a reason. So, we tried to make something happen with Texas, and at the end of the day, that it didn't work out. So I was like, it's not where I'm supposed to be. And I think everything unfolded the way that it did for a reason. I love baseball. I always have. I would have played it forever, but I think, it wasn't like a spur of the moment decision. I had a terrible year with Texas in 2013, and I'm not afraid to, you like to expect the best. I mean, I would like to go to spring training every year thinking, okay, this year I'm going to hit 305 with 23, and you put up some goals and numbers that you want to shoot for. But at the same time, if you're being realistic, like, it's not going to happen every year. So, and I think it's a lot of what the Lord taught me over the last few years of my career. And so I was realistic about it at the same time, thinking, okay, that kind of opened my eyes to what if this happens, or what if this happens, or am I going to be one of these guys that's just going to hang on and try to just claw my way back to the major leagues if I can't do it? And at the end of the day, it was more for the wrong reasons. If I was going to play, it was going to be for financial things, or for, I ended up with 8.5 years of major league service. There's been like 18,000 people in the history of the world to play Major League Baseball, and only like a little over 1,000 of those have ever accumulated 10 years of service time. So I'm like, it would be so cool to say that I had, 10 years of service time, but at the end of the day, if I'm looking at it from a heavenly perspective, like, it doesn't mean anything. So I think all the things at the end of the day just were meaningless, and I think I saw the way that my family suffered through the lifestyle, and while it looks great on the outside, the longer that you're in it, it wears on you, and I could see how it wore on me too, and it was time to say goodbye.
While we're talking about the Rangers, congratulations to you. They're retiring your number 7 jersey this upcoming season. Did y'all notice that? Pudge Rodriguez also wore that jersey, but the number 7 jersey will be retired for the Rangers. So I'm going to say, if I have a chance, I'm going to say it's the David Murphy, number 7.
They invited me to come out to FanFest. So I was at FanFest for an hour, and it happened to be around the same time slot that Pudge was going to sign. So he came in there, and we're kind of all waiting around before we go to our assigned tables. And so I'm talking to some guys, and I see Pudge over there, and I say real loud, I'm like, hey guys, did you hear that they're retiring my number this year? So just a little loud enough so that he could hear me.
Right, yeah. That's perfect. You have a pretty good story when the Rangers had Pudge, and you knew he wanted number 7. A lot of times in Major League Baseball, right, a guy will come in, if he wants that number, he's going to pay you for it or give you something, in return for that number. Did you get anything from Pudge?
So yeah, I heard the stories, and so like here and there, and it was like the second year of my career, so I'm like, okay, it's kind of weird, I'm like, I don't mind if he has my number, and I don't expect anything, but I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, is he gonna, is this true? Like, does this really happen? So he actually came to me like the second to the last day of the season, and he's like, hey, one of our kind of advanced scouts had a contact with Apple, so he's like, hey, go see Connor. He's like, he's got a surprise for you. And I'm like, okay. So he's like, basically, Pudge told me that he's going to get you a computer. So he's like, I can custom make you a computer, and he told me to get you whatever you want. So so I make this custom order, and 2 weeks later, get this computer shipped to my house, and still use it today. So
really?
Yeah, good.
Tricked up, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
You got everything you could on that?
Exactly.
That's pretty good. And it gave you a chance to honor one of your heroes, I'm sure, Hoot Jonigan, to wear number 14.
Totally.
With the Rangers, right?
Totally. I mean, you always think about people that wear the same number before you, and that was actually one of my thoughts when I did put on the number 14, and just somebody who definitely was inspirational in my career.
Very good. 25 wasn't available, probably.
It wasn't.
Or you would have chosen 25.
It was either, I think Andrew Jones was wearing it that year. That was actually another one because Jared Saltalamacchia wore 25, and then Andrew Jones came on our team. So he they switched numbers, and I think he bought him like a suit or two. So
Oh,
I
really?
like the computer better.
You got a pretty good deal there
Yeah.
with the computer. That's great. Let's go back to when you were being recruited out of Klein High School, state champions your senior year, great senior season. What do you remember about that recruiting process and your initial thoughts about Baylor, and then how you ended up here?
Honestly, and it's funny. I've been pretty adamant and I guess transparent. I was flattered to get the recognition from Baylor, but for some reason, my sister went to A&M, so I grew up when I was 12, 13 years old around College Station a little bit, and loved A&M, and actually, and I hated UT because I loved A&M, but then I think the summer after my junior year of high school, like I get a letter, a baseball letter, and my first baseball letter from a college was from Texas, so I'm like, okay, I like Texas now. So anywhere that's going to give me the opportunity to play college baseball. So I remember I remember very vividly. Coach Thompson left a message on my parents' answering machine. I think it was July 1st, and I actually remember going to the Astros game that night. I stood I have a crazy memory the way that things work. Bartolo Colon was throwing for the Indians that night. It was an interleague game. He was throwing 100 miles an hour, which I thought was amazing because I remember just sitting at the game, enjoying the game, but also my mind spinning, thinking about Baylor and just the possibility of playing college baseball. And so I think over time, talked to Coach Thompson a little more, met with Coach Smith, and I think, like I've mentioned before, I think the character of the coaching staff is really what led me here. I really enjoyed some of the things that, when I went to Austin, it was nice being in a bigger area. I grew up in Houston, and Waco being small, that didn't really appeal to me at the time. And then going to Austin, it was nice and big. Like the apartment complex that they were going to put us up in was amazing and brand new and beautiful. I went to College Station and had a chance to possibly play at the field of a place where I loved and a place where I had seen some college games before. So I got recruited by Rice in Houston, but I think I knew that I wanted a college experience and just wanted to get out of the city of Houston. And so at the end of the day, everybody says just, well, what is your heart telling you? And, I don't think when you're 18 years old that you have a good grasp on your emotions and what your heart's necessarily telling you to do. But for some reason, I was like, even though I don't really want to go to Baylor, I feel like that is what my heart is telling me. And at the end of the day, it was obviously the right decision.
And it really was divine intervention, and I don't use that term lightly, and I don't use it as a slight against our neighbors to the south either, but it really was divine intervention. I mean, God wanted you here. He had a plan for you that really became realized during your time at Baylor.
Definitely. I met my wife pretty, within a week of getting to school, and we started dating about a month after school started, and she looks me straight in the eye on our first date, and she says, "Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that you're a Christian?" I'm like, "Whoa," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a good person. I go to church. I'm a Christian." So just spending more time with her and just the character and quality of the students at Baylor University, just something kind of began to grow in my heart, or I guess maybe you could say the opposite, just the void. I began to feel a hole in my heart and just knew that there was something missing. And so, I accepted Christ probably about 2 months after my wife and I had been dating, which was the end of November. It was like the last night right before we were about to go home for Thanksgiving vacation. And it's kind of like I said, it's weird that, you follow your heart. It's amazing how the Holy Spirit can work in your heart before you even know the Lord. But I always say that God was taking care of me even before I cared about him or knew him.
That's a great story. And it also speaks to the coaching staff that you played for here. I mean, those guys, they really, sowed seeds into your life, didn't they? In that way, spiritually as well as athletically and socially and academically here at Baylor.
Definitely. Coach Smith, Coach Thompson, Coach Jonigan, Coach Barry. always be a huge part of my baseball career. Great memories of just, practices, games. Coach Thompson, I'll always remember for his intensity, for little details as a hitting coach. Coach Barry, I'll always remember for one thing, for comedic relief. Always being able, it's a gift. It's a gift to be able to keep a team and a clubhouse loose, and that's definitely what Coach Barry had. And he worked more with the pitchers, so I didn't necessarily work one-on-one with him. He threw great BP, but just great memories, and just obviously Coach Smith, Coach Johningen as well. Just instrumental in. There's so many people that you meet on the path of, starting from age 5 when my dad was the guy who was my coach, and then just coaches along the way. And I feel like one thing is there was nobody that outworked us while I was in college. I mean, from the strength and conditioning program that we had in place to just our practices, and even punishments that we would have if we would play an inter-squad game and we would lose, and Coach Thompson would have us running up and down the berm, sometimes forward, sometimes backwards. I mean, that's stuff that you don't forget, and work ethic and things like that are integrated into the player that you eventually become and the man that you eventually become.
First round draft pick of the Boston Red Sox, played for the Red Sox, played for the Rangers, the Indians, and finished with the Angels. And you talked about the chance there with the Twins late. But it was, like I said earlier, it was so fun when you were in Arlington because we could see every game or listen to every game here. And you have said before that you would hear some sick 'em Bears or people yell at you, when you're out in left field from the stands. How fun was that for you to know of the Baylor tie even at the ballpark in Arlington?
That was amazing. And I feel like I've had conversations with Andrea, my wife, before about how for some reason God knew what he was doing when he made me a Ranger, and the timing of it all, because like I said, I knew who I was as a player. I had a few pretty good years, but for the most part, I was pretty much an average player. And I feel like since God made me a Ranger at the right time, I got to go to 2 World Series, that sort of thing. I feel like any popularity or celebrity that I might have had while I played, or even now, it's so much greater than it ever would have been if I would have been, on another team. If I would have been, even if I was a member of the Red Sox or the Yankees, that sort of thing. I just feel like everything perfectly came together when God made me a Texas Ranger.
Man. 274 career average, right? I think you're better than an average player. 274, 104 career home runs, 474 RBIs. So 85 of his 104 career home runs came as a Ranger. 376 of your 474 RBIs came as a Ranger. That was the bulk of your career there in Arlington, wasn't it? The most successful years, I guess.
It is, and there's something special about it. When last year I met. And I always tell people, I don't know if I can admit this. So David Freese came in with the Pirates, and I had played with him the Angels for 2 months before in 2015. And so he and I got to know each other and became friends. And when he came in town, I went to lunch with him. And so we went to lunch, and then I took him to the ballpark from there. And we're driving up on the ballpark, and that was my first time to go since I retired. And I'm like, man, there's just something about this place, just being here, that makes my heart happy. And that's why, as excited as I am for North Texas and the Metroplex and the fan base, I'm excited for them, for the new stadium plans that are in place, and for that to come in 3 years, I guess it's going to be. But at the same time, there's a big part of me that just, you envision, taking your grandkids there someday and saying, I played right out there, or, I stood in that batter's box and I hit a ball, look up there, like I hit a ball up there in that upper deck in batting practice, that sort of thing. So, it would be nice to have a building physically there forever, just so that you can reminisce and tell stories and that sort of thing. But just there's something special, and every place that I've been will always have a special place in my heart. But being a Texas Ranger, there's nothing like it for me.
Speak to the fact, I mean, you're such a good person, you're such a good man, that I know you were a good teammate. You were a good presence in the clubhouse. Did you feel that when you were going through it, that was part of your role, was to be a good teammate, and contribute on the field and off?
I think, it's not like, it's easy to look from the outside, and I mean, you can't see a player's heart all the time by the way that he plays. I mean, I definitely had selfish moments as a player, but I think the later that I got in my career, and I kind of mentioned 2013 and the rough season that I had, and I think that made me analyze the game a little bit more in my role, in the fact that, because I lost playing time over that, and I think there were days when I was like, okay, I can go in the clubhouse today and I can sulk and I can be depressed over what's going on out on the field, or I can still try to have an impact in some way. I can still try to motivate my teammate in some way. I can try to have a spiritual impact on the team, and still, lead Bible studies in the hotel room after a game, that sort of thing. So either way, I knew that I was there for a reason. I knew that there was some type of impact that I could have had on my teammates or whatever. But definitely not perfect by any means. Like I mentioned, definitely had some weak and selfish moments. But I think when you grow as a man, when you grow as a player, when you grow in wisdom, you see the big picture a little bit more. And I felt like I started to see that a little bit more toward the end of my career.
That being said, we've got our baseball coaching staff here now. If the players were here, if you had a chance to speak to the team, what would be some words of wisdom you could share with them, having been through Baylor as a player into the pros and now past Major League Baseball? What are some important nuggets you could share with them?
I think, I was actually thinking about this driving down here today, because my wife and I are both in different Bible studies back home, and they're both in different books of the Bible, but they're both, Paul's epistles, and just talking about struggle and how it's inevitable, and how most people think when you do go through struggle, how you want to pray for that. You want to pray it off your shoulders immediately. And I guess in a few different ways that can be applied in this situation. One, just for everything that Baylor University is going through right now. I mean, I'm sure I'm sure not living in Waco and not being in the midst and immersed in it right now, I'm sure it's a sore spot and people just don't want to hear about it anymore. But God has taken the university through it for some reason. He's growing people here for some reason. And I think that's the same way in baseball. I think it makes you more of a man when you struggle. It's not about, getting hit hard and getting knocked down. It's about getting back up and how you respond to situations. I mean, it's kind of cliche and most people know about that. But if you look at the heart of all that, I think there's so much about baseball that helped make me a man, and a lot of that was through struggle. So I think that's just what I would talk about, how don't ever give up, don't ever quit, don't ever let struggle get you down. Just come out and just keep fighting.
That's really good. So you're 35 years old, right? Here's a retired man at age 35. What are you going to coach your kids now for the rest of your life? You got another job coming up, a second career, or where do things stand there?
I don't know. Maybe I should. Baseball is, like I said, it's a passion, and I would love to work in baseball somehow, some way. But in my mind, I'm like, if I do something different, maybe I should ask Chip and Joanna for an internship or something like that. The flipping houses looks fun, but they make it look so easy. They can cut out the hard parts and just, they can view demo day and all that stuff. That looks like so much fun. But I don't know. At the end of the day, my passion really is baseball. If I can be in it, if I could be in it with the Rangers somehow, some way. I don't think coaching is the road for me right now, and I don't think it will ever be in professional baseball just because of the travel, and I'm never going to leave my family as much as I did as a player. I think college and high school are a possibility, but I feel like if I'm going to be a coach, I want to impact my players as well as teach them the game, and I want to impact them the right way. And so if you're going to impact lives the way that you want to, it's going to require a lot of time. And I feel like that's something I don't have right now because ministry starts at home, and I feel like I want to impact my kids before I want to impact anything else right now. So, if it would be professional baseball, it would have to be something flexible, something that didn't require travel, either from a front office standpoint, from, broadcasting, depending on how much that would require. If it would be...
That's simple. Anybody can do that.
I might be giving you a phone call for some tips, but I don't know. I've even thought about calling my agent and asking him, what that would entail if to do something like that, because my agents are great guys. They do it the right way. I really don't know. I'm kind of working through that right now. I think I haven't had the itch the way that I've kind of had it the last month or so. So I'm working toward that. Kind of have some phone calls out there, but I don't know that I'm exactly sure what I want to do right now.
I got you. Would you ever? I don't mean to put you on the spot here, and I know it doesn't. But you left early to go play pro baseball. You never got your degree. You haven't gotten your degree yet. Would you be interested in coming back here to finish, or maybe if it's not here, finishing your degree at some point?
Definitely would be interested. Yeah. I feel like the older I've got, I've become, most of my life, I've been the type of person that's a rule follower and by the books. And not that you have to have a degree to live your life and be successful, but at the same time, I would like to, be a good example for my kids. And just when I was here, I was 100% focused on baseball. I wasn't the student that I should have been and that I could have been. So I would need to be at a point in my life where I really wanted to go out there and learn something. And I think through my contract, I think some of my school is still paid for.
Oh, really? That's great.
So I need to take advantage of that. Uh-huh. So there's definitely been, I've thought that through here and there. I don't know exactly how that would work, or if I broke it up, how long it would take, but even what to pursue, because I was a marketing major with a minor in communication. The minor in communication still appeals to me, but I don't know. Business, it's good to know, but I don't know if that's definitely my area that I would like to dig deeper into. So I would have to kind of figure out and make sure what road I want to go down before I pursue that.
That's cool. All right, just let me throw this out. You move your family to Waco. Uh-huh. We get you with Chip and Joanna, find a house, and you fix that up, and then you mesh with them. You're back in school. You're getting your degree. You're would that qualify as a graduate assistant for baseball, right? We get him a job with, you can find a spot for him with Baylor baseball. And I'll work with you doing some broadcasting, give you a little experience there. Any of that appeal to you? Just come back to Waco. We'd love to have you back in Waco.
Sounds good. That's a solid mixed bag of plenty of things that I love to do.
It is a mixed bag, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be fun. We'd love to have you in Waco. We understand you got some pretty good roots there in the Metroplex, but we appreciate you flinging the green and gold as you have for so many years and continue to do. And for anybody that knows David Murphy, you're not surprised at all that he chooses family over some other things. And we're proud of you for that, and we appreciate you for that. And you come see us anytime. You've always got a spot here. We love you and appreciate you, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed it. And I feel like everybody, once I come to Waco, went back to Waco, just everybody makes me feel so good here. And I appreciate that, and always enjoy being in Waco.
Very cool. Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
All right.